desk.
Thanks, Riv. Guys, an exciting win by LMQ, and they now have a solid hold on first place with a 2-game lead.
Yeah,
giant
lead.
The longest or the biggest lead that we've seen yet this split, which has to say something, right? But I want to jump right into it because there was a ton of action in this game. Let's first talk about just the picks in the game, specifically the Ori and the Rengar combination. Kobe, talk to me about that combination and how you play against it.
So it was pretty interesting because Xiao has already played against this combo earlier this week, and he survived, as TF specifically. So he was able to play further back, didn't get ganked by the first Rengar ganks because CLG choose to use their Rengar ganks bottom. And it's pretty funny between these two teams. Rengar ganks are very similar to TF ganks. As soon as they hit 6, one of the lanes is going to have one of those unseen ganks. And both of the teams choose opposite sides of the map. CLG chooses bottom lane, fails twice, whereas LMQ choose top lane and actually get this Gragas going, which ends up being the story of the whole game. Ackerman on Gragas, the only man left alive at the Nexus.
Yeah, and once you've got kind of that sort of situational lead like that, where you've got a part of the map that's going to win and keep creating pressure, you can just play around that. And LMQ, because they've been playing together for so long, playing an aggressive style for so long, they've played enough games of, okay, Ackerman's the big guy on the field. They're used to playing around Ackerman. They're used to setting up his, the situations where he's going to create pressure, he's going to pull attention away, right? They can defend while he split pushes faster than Seraph does all these things. And it's like, great, they're making the right calls in these split push scenarios.
So let's talk about then, just briefly, the Gragas and the Nidalee matchup, because as Jat said during the game, we now have Nidalees that have gone 2-2, some really lackluster games, some really impressive games, and they've been against all different kinds of matchups, Lulu, Gragas, Aurelia, things like that. So where is this Nidalee pick going to fall into place? Where's the comfort zone for that champion?
I think she still is sort of the premier lane bully champion. There's like a couple of matchups that can be turned, but because of the way the reworked worked, that she now has to be melee form for about half the time to do anything meaningful. She now counts as a melee matchup. Like, Lulu can, like, suck in lane and still be useful. She can wave clear. Nidalee does not have that kind of luxury. She has to go in and brawl. And, well, when you're against a really fed Gragas, who's, by the way, I think building the correct top lane build, the Lichbane first build, I think that's the right way to go about it, you don't have any ways to play around this matchup anymore. Like, if you're Renekton and you start out 0-4, you're Jackson, you start out 0-4, or Nidalee, you start out 0-4, it's going to be the same kind of situation. And it's a matter of getting your Nidalee ahead so that she can actually use her forms without dying.
So you got to remember that these changes are still recent as well. And especially for LCS players, they don't like to play on the live patches. They like to wait and play on the patches that are actually used in the LCS. So they even delay their practice time on things that are new, like the new Nidalee rework, for longer than that. That being said, I've been talking to a lot of high-ranked solo queue top laners, and the consensus is, like, Nidalee can still have an advantage over Gragas if the lane is left alone.
Yeah.
The lane was not left alone there, so you can't really blame Seraph.
Yeah, that's a very fair assessment. So now I want to move further into the game and talk about the fact that LMQ had a lead, but there was a brief moment in time where CLG kind of opened up the map for themselves. So 17 minutes and 30 seconds into the game, we're going to pull up a replay here. Fight in the mid lane. Kobe, walk me through this in terms of the utilization of the heal bait and how the fight plays out.
Well, it's this. Looks like Ackerman already used his ulti. So let's roll this one. Just Ackerman trying to defend the turret. So they're trying to time this. The turret's already gone down. Shockwave only hits more. That's only the support. Take a look at Aphromoo as the heal bait. So No Name gets sucked in by the heal bait, and he actually kicks Aphromoo the wrong direction too because of the flash. So Aphromoo drawing in the jungler pretty much all by himself right there.
So the follow-up question here, Phreak, you can answer this one, is what do you do now as LMQ when you've just lost a pretty substantial team fight and lost a turret on the back end of that in order to get back into the game, fix your mindset and all that?
Yeah, well, the cool thing is for LMQ is they have a really good fallback pattern. They've got a Tristana, and they've got a winning top laner, so the split push isn't going to work for CLG. They've got a Twisted Fate, so you have even more tools against split push because you can pick people off. He also wave clears, by the way, and you have Tristana, who also wave clears. So you've got like great anti-siege and great anti-split push, and so CLG, even though they have like a gold lead, they don't have gold in the right places because they're still not winning top lane. And so LMQ gets to say, look, we'll play the map, we'll play vision, and if you screw up, we'll capitalize.
And it's one of the reasons why it kind of forced CLG to make those more aggressive calls. You can see in the game, they're taking a lot of chances because they know this.
A perfect example of that would be the Baron fight, which we're going to pull up, or I guess the Baron steal, and then the subsequent fight. So Kobe, this is a perfect place for you to walk us through that mindset.
Baron. So maybe that mentality that we're just going over had something to do with this Baron call, where CLG were feeling pressured simply by what the standing was with LMQ at this time and the champions that they are fielding. But, all right, we'll watch it in action. The damage that CLG can do to this Baron is pretty quick. But again, going versus TF and Gragas, this is kind of like going against one of the old Gragas before the rework, because Ackerman's full AP. Anytime, that's extremely dangerous. Baron gets that magic buff, debuff. TF plus Gragas is so scary being grouped up at any time, but especially inside Baron buff, and they target double lift, immediately taking off the biggest threat from CLG. You can see the whole game long, it was all about double lift and how much damage he could bring. If you take him out of the fight at the beginning, there's no chance.
Yeah, and honestly, the fact that Ackerman was big was just such a big factor. We keep going back to it, but it's so true. The bottom lane was empty when that Baron fight was going on, right? If your top laner's ahead, like if you're Dignitas in most games, like Zion Spartan's down there and he's pushing the bottom waves, and you're playing the other top laner, Ackerman in this case, to defend you. If he wants to stop Baron, he's got a TP in. It's very telegraphed. You know he's coming. Plus, somehow LMQ needs wards in there, which they didn't have because CLG swept it properly. But because Seraph can't create pressure because of all the ganks ganks by the mid laner into the top lane, because Seraph can't create pressure by himself, he's got to be inside the Baron pit, where Nidalee doesn't want to be. She's not a team fighter, she's a flanker, or she's a split pusher. And the fact that he can't separate the team means the team fights go right the way LMQ wants. The 5-on-5ers, they get to walk in, Ackerman gets first strike, and oh look, that's how the fight goes.
Well, we saw Ackerman 100-0 double lift at the tail end of that quadra, which was just phenomenal. But I also want to tip my hat.
And Link.
And
catching Link at times too.
I just want to tip my hat to CLG, though, in their ability to stall the game out and then even win fights 12K down, things like that. And my question there is, will CLG be able to kind of turn their season around, right? They've had a couple close games, a couple devastating losses. Are they going to be able to pull it together in time for playoffs, and what do they need to do in order to be there?
I feel like CLG can pretty much do more of the same. They're a very good team fighting team, and they have very good instincts in general, right? Like, the fact that they do go and try to take these chances. I actually could hear Doublelift yelling to his team, like, as they were defending, and that was actually the beginning of that first quadra for Doublelift. I hear him yelling, like, something, guys, this is our one chance. And so, like, everyone knows, like, we're going to go for something hard, get ready, and it was the Rengar-Orianna combo, right? The ball with the cat inside of it. And that's good. Like, that's CLG making good choices. And all the CLG LMQ games are entertaining and close and interesting because CLG knows they're going to fight tooth and nail for every advantage. They have the right mindset. It's just these little things like, well, the top lane matchup got flipped. Oh, our bottom lane ganks didn't work out. Like, you get those little small pieces fixed and you're good.
Yeah, I think if they had cleaned up that early game, then the plans that CLG come up with, even when they are behind like this, as you can see, we're very close to working out and coming back.
Yeah. All right, final question. LMQ, as we said, is now 2 games in the lead. We've got 6 games left in the season. My question is, they showed a little hubris there, going into the fountain, diving, things like that. Is that kind of comfortability and maybe that feeling of we are the top team gonna bite them when they're making their way into the playoffs?
I think that's classic Vasily, actually.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going anywhere anytime soon.
Right. It's kind of like complexity where, like, they're going to go for those plays regardless. Like, whether they were number 1 or number 8, LMQ would make that same play just because they're always going to go for the ham play. And 1 out of, every 10 times it'll be the wrong choice. And that was one of them. Thankfully, they had the gold lead to pull it back. But that's not just hubris. That's just LMQ.
Yeah.
With the answer.
And 90% success rate is pretty damn good.
Right.
So I'll take that. Anyway, there's still more league action coming your way. After a quick break, we'll dive into our final LCS game, Curse versus Cloud9. Don't touch that mouse.